Thank you, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman.
Chris Hipkins.
Mr Chairman, happy to take a brief call on the summing up, the title of this bill, the Electricity Industry Bill, in the manner of the standing orders, which of course allow, in this particular part of the debate, for a summing up, and that's exactly what I intend to do, of this, what's been quite a lively debate on the Electricity Industry Bill. Mr Chairman, in summing up, several things can be said about this bill overall. First of all, the case has not been made for many of the provisions that are in this bill. Second of all, this bill doesn't focus on the most important issue, which is the price that New Zealand consumers pay for their electricity. This bill does not deal with that. It does not deal with the three pillars that Labour set forth in the New Zealand Energy Strategy back in 2007. Affordability, security of supply and sustainability. This bill doesn't deal with those issues, and in fact in many cases the Labour opposition in this debate has put forward quite a compelling case that this bill goes the other way. The government have done very little to put forward any alternative arguments in this debate. We had a very brief call from the Minister at the beginning, and I think we've had 3 calls from national backbenchers in total for the remainder of that debate. We started this debate at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's now 9:15 in the evening, and we've probably had about 15 minutes of contributions from the government who just want to ram this through. The reason they haven't taken any more calls is because, of course, they know that there's no justification for some of what they're doing. They know there's no justification for the asset swaps between Meridian and Genesis, that they haven't got the commercial business case and analysis done to prove that's worthwhile. They know that splitting up the Electricity Commission into all of the different agencies that they are, the Electricity Authority, the Commerce Commission and ECA and so on, as Transpower as well, splitting up all their functions and scattering them to the four winds isn't actually going to work. I know John Hayes is very impatient because that's the attitude of the national government. They just want to push this through. They don't want to hear any argument. They don't want to hear any debate about it. They don't want any facts. They don't want to let the facts get in the way of pushing a bill through the House. Mr Chairman, this bill doesn't do what it sets out to do. It doesn't do what it sets out to do, and it doesn't deliver on the promise the National Party made to New Zealanders before the last election: lower power prices. And they're denying it now. We've had them stand up here and say, I never promised lower power prices. That's exactly what they promised. I go to people in my electorate and I say, what did you expect the National Party to do? Well, by their rhetoric, they expected the National Party to take some steps to lower power prices. In fact, what we heard from the National Party in this debate, not only are they not going to try and lower power prices, they're actually, all they're content of doing is keeping the increases a little bit lower than they otherwise would have been. So prices are still going to keep going up under this national government, despite all of their pre-election rhetoric, and they're still going to take a dividend from those state-owned enterprises until they sell them off. Because we know that's what their real agenda is. They want to finish the job Max Bradford didn't get to finish, which is to sell what's left of the electricity system. They made a mess of the electricity system in the late 1990s. It's very difficult for any government now to deal with the challenges facing the electricity industry because of the mess the previous national government made of the electricity sector. So now we're stuck with what we've got. This bill doesn't go anywhere close to addressing the concerns that New Zealanders have around the functioning of their electricity system. Mr Chairman, it's a bad bill.
Member, I call